Good morning. Good morning and happy Friday. Welcome to the first Friday of the semester and welcome to the ICAT Playdate. Welcome to the Creativity and Innovation District Living Learning Community Assembly. That's a mouthful. My name is Phyllis Newbill. I am the Associate Director of Educational Networks within one of the two centers in ICAT, two or more centers. We're going to talk about that. A couple of housekeeping things to get us started this morning. First, we are filming in 360 this morning. So this is a 360 camera in the middle of the room. There are folks watching online, so we're glad to have them. Welcome to you all as well. But just know that not only are we filming in 360, but it will exist on the internet afterwards. So just keep that in mind as you exist in the room during the session. Pretty much, yeah. Don't pick your nose. That's so we are filming. Do we have a sign-in sheet this morning? Okay, no worries about that. There are donuts. Make sure that you enjoy donuts and coffee, which is always amazing. Thank you, Tom. We're going to present for a while. We'll have questions at the end. If you're online and have questions, feel free to punch that little questions button and let us know what questions you have, and I'll be watching that online and read those out. If you're in the room and have questions, just raise your hand, but wait for me to get to you with the mic so that the folks online can hear you. Also, if you are faculty or grad student, you can get Professional Development Network credit for being here. I think I've hit most of you who are here and that is useful for. If you're online and joining us, if you'll send me an email or put a note in the questions to let me know who you are and that you're watching, I will give you PDN credit. Okay, with that, all of those bits of information, I'm going to turn it over to ICAT Director Ben Knapp.
Thank you. Good morning to everyone here and everyone online. Really happy to be here. It still sounds funny to say 2022, but I'll get used to it by December. So yeah, welcome. And what I wanted to do today is for those of you online and those of you here, really to answer your question of how ICAT can help. And so I have some slides of how we've helped other people, what's going on there, and then some slides about what you can do to be involved in ICAT and have ICAT support you. I always forget each year that there are a certain number of people that are here or listen online that actually have no idea what even an institute is, because Virginia Tech has sort of an unusual structure to it, and having an institute is something different to maybe a lot of you that this is just arriving at Virginia Tech. So ICAT is the Institute for Creativity, Arts, and Technology. What we do is we sit across all of the colleges, and as I just said just a few moments ago, we support you in every single college. And our focus, of course, is on artists and designers, but artists and designers who are working with engineers, scientists, humanists across the campus. We address grand challenges, yes. We also explore creative opportunities. We don't necessarily only solve problems. We actually make problems, we find problems, we design new problems, or we just try to do new things and explore. Over the years, actually this is for the past 5 years, we've had 249 faculty, or greater than 10% of Virginia Tech we have supported, 9 colleges, 51 departments. We do things, and I'll talk a lot more in a moment about it. We do course buyouts, summer salary, research leave time, and seed grants. We've also supported 335 students through grants, GA positions, and other ways that we help students. We have, last year we had 7 seed grants awarded with $25,000 approximately. We had 8 mini seed grants awarded at roughly around $3,000. I say roughly because it depends on the proposal that's turned in and what's needed. Sometimes it's a little more, sometimes it's a little less. We have a research leave extension that we've funded 3 of those this year, although one person is abandoning their research leave extension. to go to work at the National Science Foundation. That would be Tom Martin. So we have a total of 20 grants that we gave out. All of this is inside something that we create that your eyes will completely glaze over as I say the words annual report. But actually, it's really neat because it shows all of the people that ICAT have invested in, how much money we put into faculty, how many spaces, and things like that. So it is actually really nice. This was created by Holly and Dylan. And I'm going to be pointing out people today, too, because ICAT isn't me. It's a collection of people that really work crazy hard. And everybody always thinks ICAT is bigger than it is. It's a really, really small team of people supporting a very large number of faculty and students. Inside ICAT, we have the Center for Human-Computer Interaction. It's one of the oldest centers at Virginia Tech, studying human-centered design and human-computer interfacing. If you have any questions about how to get involved in it, Doug Bowman is the director, and Scott was here. Scott, did you want to say anything very briefly? Anything at all? Huh? Okay, Scott has not had enough coffee to say anything cogent. Okay. Yes.
The CHCI 29th. That is Monday. CHCI kickoff event in the Perform Studio in the Moss Arts Center from 4 to 5.
Okay, that sounds great. So what a lot of within ICAT we're trying to do is develop a sense of community. After the time that we've been gone from campus during COVID, a lot of the communities at Virginia Tech got broken apart. And what we're trying to do is bring these communities back together, whether it's ICAT in general, Center for Human-Computer Interaction, or CENI. Chelsea, would you like to talk just a couple seconds about the Center for Educational Networks and Impacts?
So hi everyone, my name is Chelsea Haynes. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the Associate Director of Broader Impacts at CENI, where our motto is to inspire, connect, and impact. And so we help faculty reach out to the public through broader impacts, design activities, through educational outreach events, such as the Virginia Tech Science Festival, Hokie for a Day, as well as making connections with local school systems and museums and other informal learning environments. We help make those connections through our Educator Liaison Network, which is comprised of folks from our local school systems as well as museums, our Campus Engagement Network, which is comprised of leaders across the university in colleges, centers, institutes that are doing educational outreach. We also work very closely with the College Access Collaborative and folks on Innovation Campus to promote these activities. We're also creating a student network, so we have folks who work with CENI through internship positions, on-campus internship positions, as well as student wage positions, and through service learning opportunities. And then in addition to helping faculty with their broader impacts design, we also consult on research and evaluation, and especially for evaluating measures and broader impacts. And we also partner with faculty on research grants, especially related to education, learning environments, and workforce development.
Thanks, Chelsea. That was terrific. And the third center that we have is just in the formation stage. I'm looking at Tom Martin, the director of it. We've just received some funding from Virginia Tech, but also Tom and Sarah Parker and their team have received an NSF award to get things started as well. So I don't know, Tom, did you want to say any words on the new center? I'm surprising people, just, you know.
So as Ben said, we have a new center. It's not been officially announced yet, the Center for Future Workplaces and Processes. Got an executive board. I'm going to leave people out, but I've got Sylvester Johnson. We got people from across the university who are looking not just at new technologies, but also the economics of it, the impacts on society. And the Future Work Grant with the NSF, Sarah Parker up at Virginia Tech Carilion School of Medicine is the PI of that. We're looking at improving workplaces to improve the effectiveness of teams of clinicians.
That's perfect. And these pictures were stolen from a project that Tom did with Aki Ishida from architecture, basically looking at the future of health workspaces and the ICU. And sponsored by Steelcase, thank you. We have, obviously, one of the big programs we have, and so this is sort of phasing in from what we have been doing to what we are doing and going to be doing this coming year. The ICAT seed grants are one of our big programs that we'll talk a little bit more about, but there, as I mentioned earlier, there are multiple kinds of seed grants. These are major seed grant awards, which are up to $25,000. The call for proposals will come out in the fall for the spring. This is coordinated by Melissa Wires. This is a picture from where at the end of the year, when you've finished your seed grant project, everybody presents together and everybody gets to see each other's work, and that's from this event here. Some of the grants we have, I'm just going to fly through these very, very quickly without much time, but mainly we show these each year just so people can kind of see who are the types of people that we fund and what kinds of projects. So this is funding folks from ICAT, Plant and Environmental Sciences, Biological Sciences. We have a project here with folks from Fish and Wildlife, Civil and Environmental Engineering, and School of Visual Arts. A few grants here, one playing the sounds of COVID proteins with Department of Human Nutrition, Foods and Exercise and School of Performing Arts. Building a new VT Meta Campus. This is basically looking at the future of education and the hybrid way we might teach with religion and culture, industrial and systems engineering, and university libraries. And then leveraging the arts for justice, harnessing traditionally neglected data to advance health equity with population health sciences, sociology, STS, Science, Technology, and Society, and Virginia Tech Publishing. Who am I working with? Enabling human collaboration for future distributed manufacturing with industrial and systems engineering, and mechanical engineering, and psychology. A project looking at satellites and using machine vision for using autonomous vehicles to repair satellites with National Security Institute, Aerospace Engineering, and ICAT. And finally, a big project looking at how we can reimagine digital gaming, interactive entertainment curriculum with English, School of Visual Arts, Computer Science, Electrical and Computer Engineering, School of Communication, and English. And this is basically one of the things that you should know is that classes are an output of a research grant, as well as publications, as well as performances, as well as works of art. These are all considered outputs from an ICAT seed grant. So a lot of faculty and students always ask, well, what needs to come out at the end? And that's for you to define. And ICAT is the institute that very broadly defines what scholarship is and research is. So how to get involved? This is sort of the description of the kinds of things we're looking for in a seed grant. Types of seed grants, as I mentioned a moment ago, I would be talking about. We have the major seed grant, which is up to $25,000. The proposals, as I mentioned, will come out in the fall. We have a new way that we're doing mini seed grants. So this is very important to spread the word. The proposals come very quick. They're due September 16th for the mini seed grants, but it's a larger grant and covers the whole semester. We wanted to have something that was recurring, but monthly seed grants were just a little too often for faculty to respond to, so we sort of combined those two. Thanks to Holly kind of for thinking up this idea, and we actually, with the student seed grant, we tried that a year ago or so, and it seemed to work quite well. So the student seed grant is up to $1,000. The proposals are also due quickly. They're due on October 7th. Those are for the whole year. And you must have, 2 students must be at least in different departments or schools, preferably in different colleges when they submit the proposals. That's the same thing for the faculty grants as well. And then we have a special CENI, Center for Educational Networks and Impacts grant, up to $3,000 supporting educators, and that's due monthly. We have a new call for proposals this year. I remember I mentioned at the beginning that there are 4 institutes. We partner with a much, much, much larger institute called ICTAS. What is ICTAS? The Institute for Critical Technologies and Applied Science. Stefan Duma is going to love me for remembering that. But they started a program a few years ago where faculty that partner with HBCU universities can apply for a special grant. And that program has gone quite well and really brought together incredible teams from across not just Virginia, but the whole Southwest region. And actually, they're now bringing in HBCUs from the West Coast as well. So the program is growing. And so what ICAT has done this year is to partner with them and double the size of the grant. So instead of having $10,000 a year for 2 years, it will now be $20,000 a year for 2 years, as long as there is a faculty member in either the design or the arts. And that faculty member can be from Virginia Tech, or it can be from the HBCU as well. The other way that ICAT can help you is we have facilities. And these facilities are shared by all. So if you would like to use one of ICAT's facilities, they are there. We have a form for you to sign up to apply to use the facilities, and we'll probably end up talking to you very closely to see whether you want to use a facility for a certain time of day throughout the semester. You might want to use it for a block of a week to do some studies or things like that, or just do some artwork. And so you have access to those studios. We have obviously there's a few features of Virginia Tech that are nowhere else in the world. And one of them is the Smart Road, which is also at another institute, VTTI, the Virginia Tech Transportation Institute. And another one is the Cube. There is no other facility like it. There are facilities, probably about 10 that are similar, but none quite like it, with the deployment of a dome of speakers, a motion capture system, and a highly flexible projection system, amongst other things. So this is for you to sign up and use. We also have the old schoolhouse, which is right there on the corner of campus, that you're more than welcome to use. It's being redesigned with the help of Gustavo, and you can see, if you look at the bold there, you can see some of the spaces that are going to be created in it, or are being created right now in it. We still have other spaces in there, so any ideas that any of you have for how these spaces might be used, we're very, very, very interested in that. So the other thing, so you can get involved by getting support from ICAT financial. You can use some of our spaces. You can be part, as I mentioned earlier, community development is critical to us. So you can be part of some of our communities, including the Science Festival, which we'll talk a little bit more about in a moment, the Creativity Innovation Day that happens on the last Monday of the semester, these Playdates. Thank you very, very much for attending. You get to see every week what your fellow faculty and students are working on at the very, very difficult area of transdisciplinary scholarship. We have the Spatial Music Workshop, and we had an amazing, amazing Cube Fest this year, and we're working on the one for next year. So I mentioned I would talk just very briefly, and I lied, about the Science Festival, because that's going to be Phyllis. You want to talk just a couple seconds?
So the Virginia Tech Science Festival is coming up November 12th this year. This will be our 7th or 8th year doing a festival on campus with this. We'll do a whole play date about it in a few weeks, but just so that you know, you can sign up now, and we're looking for all across the university. We're looking for how science informs the art of science, the science of the arts. All of these pieces are part of the Virginia Tech Science Festival. It is geared for children. We have somewhere, pre-pandemic, we had between 3,000 and 6,000 people come through on this Saturday. It's a great time. It's really fun, very inspiring. And it also helps us with our networks and helps faculty on campus get their research out to the public.
All right, thank you. Yeah, it's a very, very exciting day with students, K through 12 students from all over the Commonwealth coming here. So it's really, really fun. Even if you don't, and Phyllis will break your arm if you don't, but even if you don't contribute an actual project to the festival, just coming by, you will, and leave with a smile. It's just really, really neat to see the students and faculty working with K through 12 from across the Commonwealth. Just finish up with a couple other projects that are upcoming. It's sort of with each of these slides, I've featured some of the folks at ICAT that are working on different things. They are working on 100 different things simultaneously. I forgot that Brandon is sitting over here also working on stuff even as we speak, and Tian Yu is here, who's a PhD student helping out with, when we came out of COVID or came back here, we kept the idea of having things online so that people can come back and see the amazing work that happens at Virginia Tech. But in order to do that, it takes a team of people to stream this live out to YouTube. So I really, really appreciate that work. We also have David Franisich, who's working on a zillion projects right now, but one of them is there's going to be a projection on Torgerson Bridge, October 14th through 16th. David, did you want to say anything more about that? No? Everybody's shy this morning. It speaks for itself, yeah. So it's going to be an amazing projection map. Hopefully you'll come by and see it. It's about 20 minutes long, and it starts on one side of the Torgerson Bridge and scrolls to the other. And there'll also be sound design as well with multi-speaker array. So it's going to be really cool. Tanner Up the Grove is also working on 1 million projects at ICAT. One of them was just last week. We had Steelcase here. As Tom mentioned earlier, Steelcase is one of our benefactors supporting a lot of our future of work, both future of work in health, but also future of work in learning and education in the office. This is an amazing facility that Tanner's built, which is the Tesseract, which basically allows you to build multiple configurations of auditory arrays. And this is investigating the office environment and sound in it. Tanner, did I miss anything? Is there? That's good? Okay. And so I'd like to finish up with questions. You can see a few pictures right here. David and Thomas Tucker from School of Visual Arts and myself are going up to the Museum of American History this coming week. We're doing work on building an infrastructure for projecting on the flag in Flag Hall. This summer we hosted an I4 event of people from all over the world just coming here to play at Virginia Tech. And on the right is a picture from CubeFest with Taisha and Eric. It was, as I said earlier, just an amazing event. And I could put 600 slides on here of all the stuff that's going on. But with that, I'm going to pass it back to Phyllis and hear your questions.
All right, so we have a few minutes available for questions. So I'll remind you that I need to come to you if you have a question so folks online can hear. And if you're online, I welcome you to put in some questions on the, using that questions link. Who wants to kick us off? There's a moment in education, or they tell us in education to allow that silence, allow those questions to form, so I'll enjoy that.
But Phyllis knows that I can't stand silence. It drives me nuts.
Thanks, Tim. And tell us who you are. I'll hold it.
Sure. I'm Tim Baird, and I'm a professor in the geography department. Ben.
And a senior fellow at ICAT.
And a senior fellow at ICAT, and a faculty principal somewhere. And a dad, and a husband. So university is an interesting thing in that it appears from the outside to constantly, or maybe from the inside, to constantly be changing and evolving and being creative and dynamic. But if you kind of look at a lot of what we've done over decades or maybe centuries, it looks maybe very similar. But I wonder, in a moment where technology is ubiquitous and where we none of us have encountered a disruption like the one that we've just lived through, what you think, as ICAT director, may be some big changes for universities on the horizon?
It is a really good question. That's always said when somebody asks. I haven't yet encountered somebody that says, that's a terrible question. That is a really, really, you've said that? It's a really good question. And I think, and this is obviously very self-serving and selfish, but I think that structures like ICAT that create a environment by which people can work together and transdisciplinary is the future of education. And as we've talked about, Tim, the odd thing for me saying that is I come from a world in industry that has been doing transdisciplinary work, artists working with engineers and designers and for decades, you know, from the 90s. But I think there is a moment now, and I think the restructuring of the college, I think there's a moment now where the arts and design at Virginia Tech are being brought to fore, and the interdisciplinary nature of those fields is being brought out. And I think the future of education is really allowing those things to happen. And ICAT has been experimenting with what that means. We were just talking about the month of August at ICAT began with I4, which was a collection of folks from all over the world competing to come here just to work together across disciplines. There was the spatial music and spatial audio workshops, which again, people from all over were coming here to work together on a particular topic. And then the month finished with CubeFest. So we're trying to create this place that people can come to. Is that a brand new idea? No, a lot of this is actually patterned after Black Mountain College and places like that, that really saw the importance 50, 80 years ago to bringing people together to work together. But I think that the academy moved away from that over the decades and centuries. It created these linear and siloed structures, and I think we're breaking down those walls. I think it's a big thing. And the future of work projects that are coming up really are examining, that's the big picture, and the future of work projects are examining the narrower picture of what does it look like. We know that everybody's not going to stay at home, lock their doors, and be on Zoom, but we know that there are places for hybrid collaboration. Virginia Tech has multiple campuses with not a very good way to collaborate across those multiple campuses. How do we make people feel at home when they're working together across hundreds of miles? So those are some of the pieces. That was probably too long of an answer, wasn't it?
That's fine. Other questions in the room? I have one that might be, I'll ask one of Tim. Tim, can you talk about this dorm since you live here?
Hi, I'm Tim. I'm an ICAT Senior Fellow and a faculty principal. So this is the Creativity and Innovation District Living Learning Community. My understanding is that this building, among a couple of other things on campus, is unique in the country in bringing together the type of academic space and the type of residential space that it has. If you're new here, welcome. This is a spectacular space. Just to my left here is the maker space, which is, I think, one of the biggest and maybe nicest on campus. We have a world-class rehearsal and performance space. Back to my left, we've got art studios, we've got seminar rooms, we've got meeting rooms with state-of-the-art technology, we've got an outdoor classroom, and then we've got 600 students who live here. There's 3 living learning communities. One is focused on living the arts, called Studio 72. One is focused on architecture and design and complex global challenges. It's led by Dr. Grant Hamming, who's sitting with me. It's called Rhizome. It's based in the now College of Architecture, Arts, and Design. And we have one focused on entrepreneurship called Innovate, which is based in Pamplin. And we also have about 150, 170 student athletes who live in the building. So it's an incredibly diverse group of people with fantastic facilities and resources, and we're just in our second year, and we're trying to figure out how to make magic here. And if you have ideas, bring them to me, bring them to Grant. We want to figure out how to empower the students in the building to do amazing stuff.
I think that's a really good point on 2 fronts. One is I think we're, to your question, Tim, I think we're all looking for new ideas. And any ideas that you have, we are wide open for them. The other piece of it is you might feel, you look over at this amazing makerspace over here, and you may say, well, this is not, you don't have access to it, but that's not true. Because of the novel way that we've set things up, these places have times for you, all of you, to be in there to do work, to do projects. And we've designed these spaces for that, as well as teaching classes, as well as the amazing live-learn communities that are in this building. So we're really trying to push the envelope and also break the mic. We're trying to push the envelope of how we do education going forward.
We are at time, so I will thank you all again for being here, both online and also in the room. We'll be back next week with one of our student grant projects called A Tale of Two Brothers. This is an animation project. I'm excited to hear what they have to say about it. Fascinating story. So we'll be back here, same time, same place. More donuts, more coffee. See you then.